welcome everybody to Protecte's podcast series, where we break down complex concepts in information and cybersecurity into simple and actionable insights. So, today we're going to be diving into information security governance, risk management, and compliance, and more importantly, how organizations can actually put GRC into practice. And to understand better, we have Colonel Shubhajit Naha with us, who's bringing in 25 plus years of experience in implementing GRC frameworks in federal and corporate organizations. So, Colonel Naha, how are we feeling today?
Mr. Ghazal, thanks for bringing me here. It's been some great ride in the last 25 years, in the information and cybersecurity space. And I guess these are the most exciting times as we experience a pretty great digital growth in India and all over the world. And with that comes a lot of, risks which we have to manage today. And I'm so glad that Protect is starting this podcast series. And one of the best way to reach out to masses and make them aware, I guess today is one of the best ways to get through a podcast series. So I'm feeling great. It's an honor to be here and address everyone, pass on that knowledge that we have learned over the last 25 odd years. It's been a great learning experience from the dial-up internet connection to getting internet all over the world. So you can travel today with the internet. And there was a time when I was fixing two wires into my modem and trying to get some internet to send an email over Mail or Hotmail. So I guess yes, it's been a great journey, and sharing that journey is very important.
Right. So as soon as you mentioned dial-up internet, I remember those sounds it used to make while connecting to the internet.
Yeah, I don't think you would have got to experience
No,
that.
I did actually. We had those big white computers,
Uh-huh.
and the it was a whole thing. Like if you were using the dial-up, then you could not use the phone, the landline phone.
Very correct. Very correct.
Yeah. Right. So we'll be starting simple.
Okay.
So what exactly is information security? We're going to be going into the basics here.
So, Ghazal, see, information security is nothing new, I'll be
Yeah.
honest. Information security has been there since mankind evolved, right? That could be taken into when probably we hunted for the first time. The information we had regarding our, food which we would have hunted, right? And processing that and gaining edge over our competitors. That was a kind of information warfare. But major information warfare series, probably evolved when mankind started fighting, and there you had to keep your war games, war plans secret. You didn't want your enemy to know your next move, and that today comes into the physical warfare space where two nations, when they are fighting a war, want to have information dominance. And that dominance today has spread into our business space, into our digital growth.
Right. So how do we link information security with GRC?
Yeah, I knew that would be your next question. That how is that physical warfare space coming into our business orientation? So, if you see today, Ghazal, everything is networked, right? Starting from our physical battle systems to our digital growth to our finance engines, our applications, our personal lives, we are all connected
Right.
together at all times. You've seen that movie Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Where the entire their world is
The-
connected through a web of
Yeah.
network. Internet is that web for us. So, uh, what I feel that today no warfare is separated, right? Growth is also linked. Something which is a risk to the growth is also linked, and therefore, once we look at the technologies which we use for digital growth, we get the influence of information warfare through that network into our business organization and processes. Now,
Right.
you will say that's a very something very
Mumbo jumbo.
yeah. Basically, say if an attacker today can attack your national assets in the physical space, they can attack your digital space also.
Right.
Plain
Right.
simple.
Right. So
Right.
that's kind of linking it to how and why businesses should be looking into GRC at this point.
So security is more of a management problem, I will say. By having great weapons, you can't win a war. You know. For winning a war, you need a strategy. You need to have your tactical and operational plans. You need to have rehearsals. You need to have preparedness, and that's what GRC is all about today. Somebody to be accountable, somebody who knows what needs to be done. The strategic planning is in place. Therefore, today, managing information security is so critical to your businesses.
Right. And GRC plays a big role in that. It's not something nice to have, it's a requirement, and it should be.
Well, if you care about your business and you don't want to be out of your business, then information security GRC is a must have. You
Right.
cannot survive today with a GRC program in place, even if you are a medium sized business or you are an enterprise. You're doing a grave mistakes. Either you are hacked, either you're compromised, or you are just not aware of it.
Yeah, right. That brings me to my next question: that how does GRC differ from traditional enterprise risk frameworks that companies may already be using at this point?
So, because see, enterprise risk management has been there for a very long time now. But enterprise risk management has evolved in last around 60 to 70 years post World War II. Okay, and enterprise risk management carries a lot of factors which were there initially there in the business, right? So it would be financial risk, it would be operational risk, it will be human risk, it will be hazards from as grave as natural calamity. So any risk which is there to enterprise, right? It could be due to various factors. But technology was not a risk to an enterprise. I'll be honest with you. Enterprise never considered, or any business never considered technology as a risk to itself. So if you look at traditional enterprise risk management frameworks, right, they never considered technology as a risk, right? But today, for any business growth, you cannot have growth without technology. You're dependent on technology for any. It could be any sector. It could be manufacturing, health, it could be IT, it could be software. You cannot survive without technology. And therefore, to manage technology risk, which emanates from being a networked community that we are today, the internet, and the applications infrastructure which is riding on top of it, this has become a new domain in last say around 30 years, and more so in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
I'll say 2012 onwards,
Right.
right, where the actual cyber attacks, actual information security risks started causing grave outages to businesses,
Right.
right? It would paralyze the business, and therefore the GRC frameworks came into evolution. If you look at ISO 27001, it went through a review in 2013. Why 2013? Right? Other before that, ISO 27001 was a BSI standard 7799, but then they made it into a ISO 27001 2013 standard under ISMS, Information
Yeah.
Security Management
System.
System. Why do you now need an information security management system?
Yeah.
2013, because 2012 is when we started having ransomware attacks. We started having real-time threats which could actually take your business out of action.
Yeah.
And therefore, enterprise risk management today cannot stand alone. It needs to depend on this technology risk management and information which is riding over your people, processes, and technology, and needs to be managed. And therefore, you need a separate GRC program under, of course, the
Yeah.
overall enterprise risk management framework. But since information security is a both management and technology perspective,
Right.
you need specialized people, specialized processes.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is developing into a different, siloed. I will not say siloed, but a different
Vertical
itself.
altogether.
Yes.
Right. So, in your experience so far with working with different organizations, so did you ever encounter a situation like a case study that you can provide us, wherein you saw that okay, so they were following something, but they did not have a proper GRC framework in place. So, was it difficult to implement something like that from scratch, say for a medium-sized organization or a large one? Any case study that you can? share with
All
us.
right. So this is a company in which we implemented a GRC framework based on ISO 27001, uh, and this is a it's a software retailing company. Okay, it's an aggregator for cloud SaaS softwares. It's based out of US, and what we did was there were multiple controls which they had implemented. Of course, I'm not
Already.
saying yes, yes, they had multiple controls, but they didn't understand the risk to their businesses.
Right.
So what was missing was they had antivirus, they had endpoint protection, they had good practices in the organization, but it was not coherent in nature.
Yeah, so everything was existing separately.
Yeah, there was no a chain which is or a web which
Yeah.
was binding them together, and that binding force is provided by the risk management methodology. And once this client understood, right, I'll tell you, this client got acquired uh, within 3 months time frame, right? So it was one of the probably the requirement of acquisition, or maybe the business processes got more refined. This organization, once they implemented a GRC framework based on ISO 27001 and a business continuity management system, they got acquired by a very large organization, and they never had any serious security concerns. They understood that yes, today information and cyber attacks are a realistic threat to your business processes, and they incorporated that, and therefore they had a very very successful outcome.
Great, great. So that kind of segues into my next question, which is how do you balance between being compliant with regulations like ISO 27001, which you just mentioned, HIPAA, GDPR, etc., and actually being secure from an organizational standpoint?
So, Ghazal, I always say, security is not driven by compliance. Security should never be driven by compliance.
Yeah,
Uh, let's talk about being honest.
yeah,
Let's talk about being loyal. Let's talk about integrity. If someone tells you to be honest, then only are you going to be honest, right?
no,
It's a basic
shouldn't be
ethics,
the
right?
case. Yeah.
Right. So, when you are doing the right things,
Hmm.
you cannot be driven to do a right thing by putting a stick or a pistol on your head,
Yeah.
right? Compliance is something which is there, as you should take it as a good practice. You should try to follow it. But if you are a business owner, whether it's a federal business or it's a revenue based business, it's your responsibility, it's your accountability to ensure that today your business processes are not affected by modern day risks. And if you're not paying attention to that, then it's your negligence, right? And it's your business which is going to suffer.
Right.
And for that, you may not have the expertise, and therefore you should get the expertise.
Yeah.
Either you develop it on your own,
Yeah.
or you reach out to people like us who
Yeah.
have been doing this for last almost 3 decades
Yeah.
now.
So just being compliant is not end all be all.
No,
There's
no.
more than
Compliance is just one part of
Yeah.
the requirement. Just because you are compliant, that doesn't mean you are safe.
Right.
Let's be honest.
that. Right.
So security cannot be driven by compliance. Actually, compliance should trail you. You are much ahead of compliance. Compliance should be running. Oh, I am not as
Yeah,
good as
yeah.
you already are.
Yeah.
Right? That's what should be the game.
Imagine a scenario. Let's imagine a small scale organization and they're starting from scratch. Okay, so what will be your first three steps that they should be taking? What would be your recommendation in the process to implementing a GRC framework?
Right, Ghazal, if you, when you look about GRC, right, governance, it's governance, it's risk management, and then it's compliance. Who drives governance? You tell me.
My guess would be risk management first.
Who drives the governance?
People,
Who drives the people in an organization?
policies,
Who set out the policies?
people again. Top
Yeah, of
management.
course, top management, right?
Yeah.
I know you are pranking with, you are aware of it. Right, yes. So the first step is the top management has to be willing. They need to understand that there's a risk to their business, and they have to govern it. So if they are thinking of information security today, they will have to take that top-down approach. It's their
Right.
willingness.
Right.
Unless the top management is willing to implement the GRC framework,
Mm.
you can spend a lot of money, you can spend whatever you want. Your information security program is not going to succeed. So that's the first step.
Okay.
And now there will be many steps in continuation where once governance frameworks are implemented, you have security management in place, you do your due diligence, due care. But the next step would be to get into risk management. Like
Okay.
you need to understand the information security risks to your business processes. And cyber would be just one part of it.
Mm.
Because when you look at risk, that would go into the domain of people risks, process risk, and technology risk. When we look at cyber, cyber gets into both all the three places: process,
Mm.
people, technology.
Yeah.
So there's an overlapping requirement of information security into cyber domain, and that interplay has to be understood. And that's why a financial risk analyst may not be able to do that. You need
Mm.
a specific, a qualified person who understand the internet, the applications, the infrastructure,
Mm.
applications, how they talk to each other,
Mm.
how they integrate with your processes, with your people, with your technologies. So all this is going to be a web of complex things which very specialist people will be able to do. And therefore, risk management is what you will have to do, the second thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, compliance today becomes a major part of driving your information security programs. But I always say that your security should not be driven by compliance. Your compliance should run behind you. So yes, you need to be compliant because today, information security regulations, laws are very very strict, very very rigid, and they can actually shut your business down or get you create reputational risk uh, because you might start losing business because you are not compliant.
Right.
So therefore, first is top management involvement.
Yeah.
Second is the risk management process, and third is understanding the compliances. Those are the three
Mm.
steps. Then, of course, there are very minor tactical and operational requirements which you have to execute, but that's more micromanagement stuff.
Yeah.
This is the three things I feel any organization, if they understands,
Mm.
can implement the GRC framework effectively.
Great. And taking from that, like, what would be a common pitfall that you've noticed when organizations have just started out on this process that you can probably tell the audience so that they can avoid in case they're in those stages at this point?
So if there is involvement of top management, then I feel it becomes easy. Therefore,
Hmm.
top management involvement is very very important.
Okay.
They should have whenever you are implementing the GRC framework, ensure that there is a rep of the top management with you, sitting
Hmm.
with you, understands the
Right.
complexities and is involved in the process. Second thing I feel is establishing accountabilities.
Hmm.
You have to establish accountability today. Who's going to drive this entire
Yeah.
process? So accountability, establishing accountability is a major part of putting a GRC framework in picture. And what was the third question? You said?
Oh, it was just the pitfall.
So the pitfall is, of course, if you don't establish accountabilities,
Hmm. Yeah.
then who do we give the task to?
Yeah.
Right? Somebody has to take the ownership. Ownership is
Yeah.
a very major pitfall in organizations.
Yeah.
And third is working in silos. Your finance not speaking to your HR is not speaking to your risk management, risk is not speaking to IT,
Yeah.
cyber is not speaking to IT. And those are the common pitfalls. And it's not me syndrome. So whenever there's an incident
Hmm.
in organizations, everybody just raises their hands up and say it's not me, it's because of you.
Yeah. I didn't do it. Someone
Yeah,
else
I
did.
didn't do it. Someone else. It's not my fault.
Yeah. It's not.
A good organization will always own a pitfall. The teams will own up their faults. It's
Mm.
good to own up your faults or own up your gaps. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong in it. Technology today is very varied and we all will make mistakes. We should have the capability to absorb that mistake.
Right. Right.
Right.
And taking from your current point, you mentioned the silos, right? You mentioned the IT, legal, operation, HR. So
Yeah.
they're all a part of this GRC program.
Of
So,
course.
right? So how do you ensure collaboration amongst these? Because they all speak different languages.
Yes. So therefore, you can't push people.
Yeah. And this is an intrusive process.
It's an intrusive process. You are getting into their processes. You're trying to say, okay, there separation of duties between your this critical process and this critical
Yeah.
process, because once you get inside, you will see there could be collusion happening into that organization and they will get scared. Or they might be genuinely doing something good, but they might be scared that something will come out of the
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
So it has to be very collaborative and a slow process,
Hmm.
and you have to gain trust. You have to collaborate a lot. You have to make things simple
Hmm.
and transparent
Hmm.
to to those silos which
Hmm.
are right now working in silos, how they can integrate and
Yeah.
work in a very, very superfluous manner.
Yeah.
Right. So collaboration is a major requirement. Ability to break down complex
Hmm.
requirements into simple
Yeah.
thought processes.
Yeah. The art of articulation, the articulating your needs.
Yes. Thirdly, is the language in compliance is very, very complex in nature. Can you
Yeah.
break down it into simple
Yeah. So that an HR
requirements?
can understand, a marketing department can understand.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Those are the things which you need to work out.
Perfect. Perfect. So, veering into now the tech and the tools side of it, right? So, what technologies or tools you recommend that can help automate or simplify the GRC implementation process, especially for small and mid-sized organizations? Or do you agree? Do you disagree? Should we use tech? Should we use tools? What's your standpoint on this?
So, Ghazal, your question itself had the answer, right? The question said, "What tool should we use to implement this process?
Hmm.
Do you have the process?"
Hmm. Right.
So that means you are saying to implement this process, do you have the process in place? Is
Yeah.
the first question. So if you have the process in place, well, I can recommend there are multiple tools. There is GRC Archer, ServiceNow,
Hmm.
Vanta, and there are multiple tools. So there are
Yeah.
open source tools like Aramba,
Yeah.
right? Tools do not matter. What matters is
The process.
your process is defined.
Yeah.
Is your ownership defined? Is your accountability defined? Are people aware of the responsibilities? Are your procedures in place? Are your plans executable?
Hmm.
Right? That is what matters. And then comes the tool. So, tool, well, you might buy the best car. There's no point if you don't drive it.
Right. So now we're going to get into the buzz of the zeitgeist, as they say, right? So, of course, I'm talking
I didn't
about
understand that. Whatever you said,
zeitgeist is the feel of the times that we are
Okay.
living in right
Okay.
now,
So
which
that's the
is
generational gap we're talking about. You're trying to make me feel old.
no, I'm really sorry if I
Okay.
did that.
Uh-huh.
So I hope everybody learned a new word today. Great. So we'll be talking about AI now, of course. So with AI and automations coming into cybersecurity, right? It's inevitable. It's already started. It's happening. So how do you see GRC evolving in the next 5 years to kind of cater to the new entrance into cybersecurity?
So tell me, Ghazal, how much help did you take from AI to ask these questions to me? Did you take any help?
Yeah, I did.
How much time
I,
did it take for you to generate these questions and tune it and bring it out to me?
about 10-15 minutes.
And do you think I'm answering using AI? Do you think so?
No, not at all.
I'm answering on the fly.
Yeah,
Okay. So it has made your life easy.
much easier.
But when it requires critical thinking, do you think AI can handle it the way I'm able to handle it? Do you think so? You've tried?
Not as of right now.
Not at all, right? So there is still evolution required. So
Mm.
always remember that to catch up to where it can think independently, when we're talking about AGI, it's a long way to go. Because presently all the algorithms are learned from what you can produce,
Yeah,
your data,
yeah,
your learnings,
yeah.
right? And then it can give you a best use case. Therefore, today, please understand that it's a technology
Mm.
which you have to be on top of,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So you cannot let it.
They're on
You
top of
cannot
us.
say that I will not use it, right? You say, okay, fine, it's a technology, and I'm going to make best use of it. Now, having said that, if someone tells me today that I will deploy a AI-enabled tool and you won't require a GRC analyst, a risk manager, and it will all be done
Yeah,
automation in automatic way, well, I'm sorry, that's not possible at this point in time. Because of course AI is connected to computer systems, machines. Is it connected to people?
mm.
Is it connected to the processes? Yes, to a certain extent. But there's a long way to go, right? So yes, AI is going to help a lot in GRC. I'll tell you policy formulations, policy drafting. But at the end of the day, you have to implement it, right?
Yeah.
And I guess this world has evolved because humans have been implementing things. If you want to implement something, you need the human mind. AGI is still a long way to go. It's a long shot, and I guess we're safe for next at least 4 to 5 decades. Just don't worry.
Okay. So
So
next
yes, it's going to
5 years.
make your life easy. Of course, it's going to find non-compliance as much in a much easier manner. It's going to make your life in vulnerability assessment much more easier. It's going to make your security threat detection much easier, right? But at the same time, the correlation, the human mind evolution, which needs to be applied on top of it, I don't think AI is going to reach there very soon. Companies give a picture because they want
Yeah.
the product to be sold.
Yeah.
But having used AI extensively, I'll say it's still not there.
Okay.
Okay?
So we still have a long way to go and don't need to rush into anything as of right now because AI right now needs a lot of human intervention
Of
to
course,
function.
of course. The integration in itself between different tools,
Yeah.
between different agents,
Mm.
there are evolving risks in that itself. So to understand that, it's a complex. So I always say, the day I'm born, I cannot become a colonel, right?
Yeah.
It took me 40 years to
Yeah.
become a colonel, 38 years. It's a step, it's a process, it's an
Mm.
evolution, right?
Perfect. Perfect.
So
Right.
if you're planning to start a GRC journey, just because you got an AI enabled tool doesn't mean that
Yeah. You
you
still need to know how things work and
yes,
why.
yes.
Great. Right. So we are now moving into the last segment,
Okay.
which is going to be, it's all going to come down to numbers, right? It's all going to come down to your performance indicators, how something worked. You implemented a program, how did it do, right? So once the GRC program is implemented in an organization, so how can they measure its effectiveness? How would they know that, okay, this is good, this is up to some kind of mark? Is there a KPI? Is there some kind of indicator to track this?
So Ghazal, which game do you like the most and you played actually?
Ooh, so many games. So lately I've been into playing virtual pool.
Okay. So day one when you played the virtual pool, did you become an expert?
I had played physical pool, so it was easier for me to catch up.
Yeah.
But yeah, not day one, of course.
Yeah. So if you played physical pool, let's go to physical pool
Hmm.
first. Day one, you were able
No,
to.
no. That took me a while.
Took me a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Same with any process.
Hmm.
Right? GRC is a process which you're going to implement and you're going to have maturity over a period of time.
Hmm.
So, in the information security space, when we talk about maturity, we use something called the CMM or the Common Maturity Model. A Common Maturity Model was given by Department of Defense in US. It's a very simple model. It has 5 steps. It's called initiating, repeatable, defined, managed, and optimized. So, any organization when it adopts a process, whether it's a risk management process or a GRC process or any other process, you can divide it into 5 steps. And the initiating part, the first part is ad hoc. Whenever you start, it's ad hoc. Something,
Yeah.
everything is ad hoc.
Right.
We have implemented
Yeah.
GRC in our own company, right?
Yeah.
And first part was we didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it was makeshift.
It was makeshift.
Yeah.
Then the second year of operations, you understand, okay, these are repeatable processes now happening.
Mm.
So if there are repeatable processes, okay, so can I take the good part of what was happening last year, put it
Yeah.
again in a more refined manner?
Yeah.
And that's when you say IR, initiating, repeatable.
Repeatable.
Probably in the third iteration, you become defined.
Okay.
This is where you can have KPIs.
Okay.
Whatever you've implemented, are your policies working?
Hmm.
You can measure things. You can have more data insights, right? So it's in your third iteration or even in your third year. If you have been consistent, you will see very, very defined results in adopting a process or a framework in your organization. So even GRC or a risk management maturity model, which we
Yeah.
call RMM or a CMM or a software defined
Mm.
software
Mm.
development maturity model, which is called SWCMM, they all work on the same fundamentals. That probably the third iteration is where we will get to a point where you can define the metrics. Now, for GRC, metrics are again you have to evolve your own metrics.
Yeah.
If you're developing your policies, your procedures, your processes, and you have to define some KPIs and some KRIs to measure the efficacy of your GRC program. Yes, that's what I would do.
Okay, great. So it's an iterative process
Of course.
and it takes time.
It's an iterative process, it's a continuous process. You have to get evolved. It's not that I've done it something
Yeah.
once, there's a policy that's lying on my table
Yeah.
and it will work on its own.
Yeah,
It's
of
going to be
course.
Aladdin ka chirag and then it's going to do magic.
Yeah.
No, sir, you have to get it.
Awesome.
Therefore, it's a continuous process.
Right. So, Kananaha, before we wrap this up, you've been talking about frameworks, right? So, what is your most recommended framework, say, not just in India, but outside India, across the board?
It's a good, when we decide to take ownership of security, one thing is you start your own framework, you develop your own framework. But why to do that hard work when there are already very mature frameworks available?
Yeah.
Now, amongst them, which is very commonly used, is ISO 27001,
Hmm.
which is in the 2022 format,
Yeah.
right? Second is NIST SP 853, which is again an open framework given by NIST as part of their overall implementation of FISMA. That is also a great framework, but it is a complex framework to understand, and it's generally mandatory for US federal agencies. Right? Third is NIST has also given a much simpler framework, which is called the NIST Cybersecurity Framework (CSF). But overall, today in the entire world, majority of frameworks, regional frameworks which have been developed, are actually sitting on top of ISO 27001. Now, ISO 27001 relatively is a very simple framework to understand, but it's a difficult framework to implement,
Right.
right? And for the last 2 years, we have implemented almost uh, 6 times with some major global players. And my understanding is you can lay ISO 27001 at the bottom,
Yeah.
and on top of it, you can overstack everything.
Yeah. It becomes a foundation.
It becomes a foundation.
Yeah.
So you take ISO 27000 as the base standard. Even if you want to implement NIST SP 853, you put the foundation as ISO and start mapping other frameworks. That makes your life very, very easy, and you don't have to do multiple framework implementations, right? I guess you're going to grill me on that also in the next episode.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes. So I was just going to mention that. So we are going to be diving deeper into the ISO 27001 framework, but not in this session. So stay tuned. We'll be coming out with more GRC related topics, more information security related topics, more frameworks we're going to be jumping into. But for that, you'll need to come back to us and we'll keep you posted on our schedule. We'll keep you posted on all the new upcoming and exciting events that are going to be taking place here at Protect in our new podcast series. So thank you so much, Colonel Naha, for joining us today and kicking
Thanks.
this off.
Thanks, Ghazal. It has been there for a very long time, and I'm happy that we are able to kick this off. I would also like to bring out that uh, we started Protect Academy, and today now we are going into the consulting and the advisory space. And one thing which I've realized is the amount of knowledge we have brought into the community.
Yeah.
Right, it has helped a lot of people, at least from the training perspective,
Yeah.
and the amount of experience we had in the consulting space, and now we're bringing it out. It's helping organizations with
Yeah.
our client list. We've seen that it's growing. We also provide Ghazal. That's why I would like to bring out that small companies, right, small even mid-sized companies,
Hmm.
if you have the understanding of the information security processes, that's where you don't have to spend a lot of your budget.
Yeah.
And that's why we created our consulting services into a manner of a virtual CISO,
Hmm.
a GRC as a service,
Yeah.
right? Compliance as a service. So all this is to make security accessible
Hmm.
and globally acceptable,
Yeah.
right? That's what
Globally
it is.
unbeatable.
Yes, globally acceptable, globally unbeatable,
Yeah.
right? And overall, the APAC and the India region, the adoption has still been low. And our aim is to get it in a manner where organizations remain secure and grow. And that's how we can, as a mankind, as a human race, we can grow forward. That's the aim.
Absolutely. Well said. So I think we should take our coffees and cheers to the upcoming sessions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
take
much
care.
for kicking this off, and we'll see you in the next one.